everybody and welcome to Brain Linker. In the previous video, we have seen reading and writing using URL connection. In this video, we are going to make a chat program, or I can say two-way communication between command prompts using TCP socket. So let's start the program. First of all, we have to import certain classes. First one is socket. Socket resides in java.net package. Socket is one endpoint of two-way communication link. Don't worry, in this video I am going to cover all the details of socket that are required in this program. But if you want to know more about socket, then you can check it out my second video of advanced Java sockets and socket programming. I will give link of that video in description. For now, let's move ahead. We have to import few other classes as well, but we will import it as and when required. For now, it's time for the class. Why not name it friend1, because it's actually a chat program. Then void main, before moving forward, let's save this program. friend1.java. Then we have to create object of inet address. Inet address can represent IP address of any machine. Generally, it initialized with server's IP address, but in our case, our local machine act as both client and server. Our local machine act as both friend1 and friend2. Hence, we have to create inet address object pointing to or initialized with local machine's IP address. So let's write it. Actually, inet address doesn't have constructor, so we have to make inet address object using some method. The method is get localhost. It returns inet address object initialized with local machine's IP address. Using this inet address object, we can create socket. Here we have to pass inet address object and server's port number, the port number that we want to connect to. You can use any port number up to 65,535, but not the reserved one. So I will use 1300. Then before moving forward, this socket constructor might throw IO exception. So first of all, we will handle it. Then catch block, IO exception, E, then a simple print message, E dot get message. Then here we want to simply print a message like sending request. And here simple message connected. Now we will write code to send messages to a server, but before sending messages, we first have to read them from console. So let's write code to read messages from console. I am using buffered reader to read from console, but you can use your preferred way like scanner class. Inside this buffered reader constructor, we have to pass input stream reader. Inside this input stream reader constructor, we have to pass system.in. In this way, it will read from console. Now we need print stream in order to write to server. Inside this print stream, we have to pass output stream. We will pass this socket's output stream. In order to get socket's output stream, we have to call get output stream, because through socket we can communicate. That's why we are passing output stream of socket. Now we need a string line to hold line from user input or console input. Now we need a loop to iterate over all the user input, and then we will send that input to server. Read line will read a single line from user input or console input, and then it assigns to line string. Now we'll check for null. Whenever this line is null, we have to end our loop. We won't use system.out.println here because it simply prints to console, not to send message to a server. So we will use this print streams ps, and using this ps we call println method of print stream, and inside this println we simply have to pass string. Now our functionality to write to a server is completed, but functionality to read from the server is yet to be written. Here the dilemma occurs. If I write reading functionality here, then it will always read first and then write next. If I write reading functionality here, then it will always write first and then read next. I don't know whether you have understood it or not. Let me clear this. Suppose that here we have written reading functionality, then there is a loop that whether server has sent anything, whether server has sent anything, whether server has sent anything. So this write functionality might not get a chance. If I write reading functionality here, let me assume that, then write will always gets a chance first, and there is a possibility that reading might not get a chance. In case of limited iteration, reading gets chance. So that's the problem. Now how can we solve this problem? Solution is thread. Using thread we can separate out this task, reading and writing, and then these two tasks can be carried out parallelly. So this writing functionality will be as it is in main method, and for reading functionality we have to make a thread class. So let's make it. Let's name it read thread. Then there are two approaches to make a class thread. First one is extends thread class, and second one is implements runnable interface. I am preferring thread class here, hence extends thread. Then inside this read thread we must override a method called run. Then in read thread we also need a constructor. And we also need a data member called socket, because we will pass the socket here in this thread. So argument will be socket. Now I have to initialize this socket with this socket. Let's make it this dot socket is equals to socket. In this way we got the same socket that we have used in write functionality. Now it's time to write code to read from server. We will write that code in run method. Let's write. We are again using buffered reader to read from server this time. Inside this buffered reader constructor we have to pass input stream reader. Inside this input stream reader we have to pass input stream. We will pass this socket's input stream because through socket we can communicate to server. So let's write socket, and get input stream. Get input stream will return input stream of socket. Now we need a string line to hold a line from the server response. Now we need a loop to iterate over all the response that we got from the server. Let's write read line. It will read a line from the server's response, and this loop will run until line becomes null. Then here we simply have to print the line. Now here we have to call that thread. Let's call it read thread. Let's name it RT. New read thread, and inside this constructor we have to pass socket. Now we have to start this thread. In order to start thread, we have to call start method of thread class. We can call start method using threads object, and this points to current object, and current object is threads object. That's why this is valid. Another thing is this read line might throw IO exception, so we have to handle it. Let's handle it. We will cut paste all the statement and paste it under try block. Then catch block for IO exception. Then object E. Inside catch block we simply have to print e.getMessage. Then we can add a simple formatting text here. It's like friend2 says. Now let's import the classes that we have used but haven't imported. I think first one is init address. It resides in java.net package. Then in IO package we have buffer reader. Then input stream reader. Then print stream. Then IO exception, last one I think. I think we have imported all the classes. Now let's see the execution flow for the read functionality. Here first of all thread will be called with the socket. Then this socket will be initialized to data member socket, and then thread will be started. Whenever we call start method, JVM internally calls run method. That's why we haven't called run method explicitly. Now let me quick review the code. Is there any error? Is there any error? Is there any error? Here. Actually get localhost is static method, so we have to call it using class name. Then we'll look for other errors. I think everything is fine. Let me save this program. Javac friend1.java. It compiled successfully. Still server-side program is remaining, but if I create that program in this video, then video will be more lengthy. That's why I will cover that program in next video. Until then, this is Vishnu Radhanpura signing off. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe us. Please press the bell icon for latest updates. If you like this video, then please press the like button. You can give your doubt or feedback in comment section. Goodbye.